In the peace of the early morning, Dot is making breakfast.
The light beyond the windows is just as white and bright as it is at any other time of day, but the gauzy, peach-colored curtains soften it into something gentler.
Dot gets out 2 glass teacups and 2 small spherical bundles of dried tea leaves. While the water boils, they tie back their hair, put on an apron, and start on the pancakes.
Outside the apartment, the city of Stationary Hill stirs to wakefulness. To be totally accurate, it never quite goes to sleep in the first place. People from all over the cosmos with all different kinds of circadian norms, remember. But the soundscape of the city does take on a different character in the un versus the fold.
Now, the first train of the day goes rattling past on the elevated tracks not far from the kitchen windows. And the ceiling creaks as the occupants of the apartment above move to and from.
The chevron-shaped uncatcher hanging above the sink casts flickering rainbows across the wall. Blue branches crowded with pinkish-orange flowers fill every spare corner of the room, propagating rampantly in biscuit tins and glass soda bottles and cactus husk bowls.
The kettle starts to whistle, and Dot pours hot water into the teacups. They mix wildebeest pollen into the pancake batter to turn it a vibrant saffron yellow. And soon the air is fragrant with the scents of butter and batter and floral steam.
It smells amazing in here.
Cleo shuffles out of the bedroom, yawning. She's wearing an oversized princess shiny shirt. Her hair is tousled from sleep.
She looks more like a jellyfish than ever with her new haircut, a fluffy shoulder-length bob with 2 long, wavy tendrils in front. She sits down at the narrow kitchen counter while Dot puts the final touches on her pancake. Shiny black berries for the eyes, a dusting of powdered blush bell petals for the antennae, cactus syrup on the side so as not to ruin the aesthetic.
Cleo oohs and ahs appreciatively as the plate is set down before her, along with a cup of tea.
Wow, Dot, you've gotten so good at this.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. It does look pretty good, if not quite true to life.
Dot glances out the window, looking for the real thing. He usually shows up around this time.
And sure enough, there he is, a flash of bright yellow and blue weaving gracefully across the rooftops. He shimmies along the railing of the rooftop community garden, bounds down a couple of stories to the ceramicist's balcony,
stepping delicately between the rows of clay bowls that have been set out to dry,
then launches himself across the gap between buildings.
His wings spread out like a blue fan as he glides over the train tracks and over the street even further below. There's a muffled rattle and a shudder as he lands on this building's fire escape, out of view.
The uncatcher rainbows flicker.
And a moment later, Omelette pours hugely through the window like a piece of fresh spaghetti extruding out of a pasta maker.
It doesn't seem like he should be able to fit, but when has that ever stopped a cat?
Good morning, Omelette.
Dot greets him as he stretches and yawns.
He blinks politely at Dot and Cleo, then goes directly over to his bowl, which is a heavy-duty agricultural bucket of the type local farmers might use for feeding large livestock like wildebeest.
And all 3 of them sit down to breakfast.
The tea balls have blossomed in the hot water, revealing lovely reddish flowers hidden inside. Dot takes a slow, appreciative sip. Their hands are warm against the teacup. Their cheeks have a healthy-looking glow. The veil hasn't been necessary for some time now. Neither has food. Right now they are more than satisfied with tea. They need to save their limited appetite for tonight.
Cleo swallows the last bite of her pancake. She's gazing at Dot dreamily.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good, all things considered. A lot better than I thought I'd be. I'm just, locking it in.
She holds up her arms, pantomiming shooting an incendiary imaging device. Dot smiles.
Maybe we should get a real picture taken tonight.
Oh, it's gonna happen, for sure.
You still want to go to work today?
Cleo nods firmly.
Just a normal day, remember?
Right, yes, but won't you want to change for the party at least? It's not like you to pass up an opportunity for a special outfit.
Cleo's eyes sparkle.
Oh, I'm not. I've got everything I need stashed at work. You and Merlin can just meet me when my shift ends, and we'll all go over together, okay?
She glances at the clock and suddenly jolts out of her chair.
Yikes, I better hurry up. The oven's been producing a lot this week. Yesterday, I was barely 5 minutes late, but the floor was covered in bagels when I got there. Like, covered.
She rushes back to the bedroom to get dressed while Dot does the dishes.
And Omelette has settled down in his favorite spot, comprising about half of the living room, and now snoozes peacefully in an unbeam.
Dot regards their large black hat, which is perched on the back of an armchair. It has served them well, but it's not really their style anymore. Maybe Cleo will want to try it out, or maybe it will have value to somebody as a historical memento, considering the journey it's been on. Or maybe Sohelia the Hatmaker would even be glad to have it returned or donated. Either way, the receipt, which despite all odds has never been lost, is carefully tucked under the hatband.
10 minutes later, wearing her white bakery smock, Cleo gives a kiss to Omelette and then to Dot. She lingers longer than usual with this second kiss, but withdraws before the moment has a chance to turn melancholy. You taste like flowers. See you after work.
See you off to work, Dot says, for the last time.
As afternoon drifts towards evening, Dot makes their way down the bustling red brick streets of Stationery Hill. After waiting for a multi-legged bus to trundle by, they cross the main drag to Patricia's Bread and Breakfast, where, already waiting outside, are two familiar figures.
One of them waves enthusiastically.
Dot? Dot! I barely recognized you without your signature headwear.
Merlin beams at Dot, a wide smile creasing his handsome face. His open, guileless expression is lent a bit of ruggedness by the roguish scar across his temple, and he wears a practically luminous linen shirt and pants that give him a relaxed, professor-on-sabbatical sort of style.
Beside him stands the Bocular Man, wearing a familiar favorite red turtleneck and some sporty khaki shorts that cut off well above his backwardly bending bocular knees.
Dot peers up at them both through pink heart lenses.
Hello, Merlin. Hello, Bocular Man.
Hello, the granddaughter.
Dot smiles in surprise.
New greeting phrases.
Yes, had to brush up his conversational libraries in time for the party, you know.
Oh my gosh, Merlin! Hi!
Cleo comes bursting out of the cafe and flings her arms around Merlin.
It feels like it's been forever! You look fantastic! And who's this dapper gentleman?
Hello, Cleophee Gilmus. I am the Bocular Man. Good afternoon.
He can say my name!
Cleo curtsies to the Bocular Man.
The new faceplate looks really good. Hang on, is this...
Actually, it's the old faceplate. I repaired it.
Merlin runs his fingers over the lines of gleaming metallic lacquer.
Hello.
I think it looks kind of like those iridescent scars that some people have. Like Everett, you know. It's not perfect, but that's why I like it.
Cleo leans close to the Bocular Man, tilting her head this way and that as though admiring the brushstrokes of a painting. Merlin, it's beautiful. You're a real artist, you know that?
Well, thank you. And you are a work of art. This outfit, it's...
His eyes suddenly go wide with recognition. Cleo grins in response and does a little twirl, catching Dot's eye as she does so.
Do you get it? I'm the ship.
The dark polychromatic fabric shifts in the light like dark mica, geometric pleats and seams mimicking crystalline structure.
Chevron-shaped earrings peek from within glowing pink curls. A functional fold-safe light bulb necklace brings the whole look together, like the fold light in miniature, minus the consciousness.
Presumably, as far as we know.
The dressmaker around the corner helped me design it. Or, I guess I helped him. He did most of the work, including, making it. But it was my idea. I just thought, since the ship couldn't be here itself...
It's a very good idea, Cleo. Merlin beams. Look at us, the old gang, back together.
He doesn't say, well, almost. He doesn't need to.
Dot takes Cleo's hand.
You look lovely, Cleo. I'm sure the ship would feel honored. Shall we go? We're hoping to get a picture taken before the fold comes in.
Ah, excellent!
Merlin rakes an errant curl back into place.
I'm so excited to see everyone.
Anyone in particular? Cleo asks innocently.
You know.
Would you look at that? A crazy-looking vintage monocycle, driven by somebody wearing a fabulous red velvet suit.
Zila pulls down her unglasses and grins, jabbing her thumb at the empty sidecar.
Hey, strangers. I've got room for two if you want to get real cozy. Who wants a ride?
We've been here before. Even, maybe, you. But never on the roof.
On the rooftop of Saskia's Cabaret, a private, lantern-lit haven has been prepared for the crew's reunion party. Beneath an airy, open-frame gazebo, a long table is set with places for everyone.
A whole sideboard buffet is mounded with Del Belsabon delicacies.
My friends, welcome, welcome. Please, please, step right up. We have finger sandwiches tonight, mini stationary dog bites, of course, with green motato, only the finest for my friends. Fruit punch, accented with cinchona tree quinine. We have some crunchy snack mixes, assorted desert nuts, and sequester split seeds. Of course, a luscious salad. One of my favorites now, mirrorhawks on the half shell, and many, many fine drinks.
The warm fold billows gently across the roof, ruffling the Vermilion County succulents that dangle from the gazebo's lattice like bunches of luminescent blue-green grapes.
Nearby, a wrought iron fire pit surrounded by lounge chairs overlooks the dense urban scenery.
The crew spill onto the cabaret's roof, the air already ringing with their excited chatter and laughter. Moments before the fold swept over the town, they managed to get a somewhat chaotic group photo outside of the cabaret on the street, and now, eyes still dazzled by the flash, they are ready to bask in each other's company the whole night long.
All around them, the city of Stationary Hill glimmers softly in the fold-shrouded nighttime.
Saskia's Cabaret is not the tallest building or the shortest building in the neighborhood, neither the newest nor the oldest, but it sits on Main Street, not far from the crest of the hill, right in the city's heart.
Towering tenements, redstone warehouses, snaking train tracks, and commercial buildings of all sorts have bloomed in every available nook and cranny, like opportunistic desert flowers.
On an adjacent rooftop, a line of laundry trembles in the breeze. Across the street, a facade of intermittently illuminated apartment windows offers a peek into the lives of its residents.
2 laughing children bouncing on a bed.
A man hunched intently over a drafting table.
A couple cooking dinner together.
An old lady asleep in her armchair.
The inter-isletary cable tower soars above it all, nearly invisible in the darkness, save for the blinking red safety lights and the shiny branches of the glass tree, silvery and transparent as soap bubbles.
As everyone eagerly takes their seats, Omelette emerges over the edge of the roof, climbing the fold on his luminescent toe beans. He conducts a swift inspection of the whole setup, sniffing at the buffet with avid curiosity.
But before he can wreak any havoc, however, Kino swoops in and presents him with a covered silver platter.
A very special dish prepared especially for you, my enormous furry friend.
He whisks the lid away, unveiling a smorgasbord of sophisticated feline cuisine, which Omelette graciously accepts.
You like that, do you? Good boy.
Between mouthfuls of motato, Zila is excitedly telling Everett and Mickey all about the new developments at the Verger Zoological Gardens.
They're going to start work on the new Mica Oasis Dome as soon as I get back. Turns out, the red lichen we collected takes really well to cultivation, which is lucky since, it's going to be a long, long time before anyone's going to be able to get any new samples.
Much that was possible before is not possible now, with the Cosmos' one and only dark mica vessel out of commission.
On account of being alive and roaming around out there somewhere doing whatever living ships do.
It's a good thing they have all of your amazing drawings to fill in the gaps,
Says Mickey.
I can't wait to come check it out. What is the dome going to be named?
Zila bites her lip to stifle a grin, proud and embarrassed at the same time.
The Guthrie Dome.
You're gonna have a dome named after you?
Everett shouts, smacking the table.
Oh, you've made it. You've won. Here's to the Guthrie Dome.
Thanks. But what about you guys? What's new?
Oh, well, we may not be doing dome good, but we're doing pretty great.
Everett says.
We took a break for a while after the consortium finished with us, went camping in the dunes out by Maisie's place for a few weeks. Oh, that was so great. Just needed a little reset,
Yeah, I definitely know. But you're back to work now? With the stagecoach? The Postal Express?
Yep. We just did the Glushka run last month. Cruising the cosmos.
Mickey says.
And it's perfect.
Everett takes Mickey's hand.
It really is the good life. Oh, speaking of good living, Dot, Cleo.
She twists in her chair.
You two want to go gliding with us again next week? Weather's supposed to be great, and I think you're ready to fly Peak Canyon.
Oh!
Dot and Cleo look at each other, communicating silently.
I won't be available next week.
Dot says graciously.
But I did have a lot of fun last time. You're a very inspiring teacher, Everett. And Mickey, you're very patient. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to learn gliding from you both. And to be your friend.
Mickey beams at them lovingly.
Everett looks touched and surprised.
Gosh, thanks, Dot. I'm glad that you... Oh, whew. It's too early in the night for me to be getting this sentimental. What's going on?
I disagree. It is not too early.
I'll be free, though, says Cleo. Can I still come flying?
Oh, yeah, of course, Princess. I'll pick you up. We'll try not to have too much fun without you, Dot.
Nonsense. Please live your lives to the fullest.
They grasp Cleo's hand under the table.
Whether I'm with you or not.
Hey, if you've got a spare glider, sign me up. Can I come?
Mickey laughs. Are you kidding? Of course you can, Hambing. If you think you can handle the action.
Action is my middle name, Mickey. Actually, it's Hubert. I wish I was joking.
A flurry of small bubbles bursts out of Hambing's mouth as he laughs, and the fork in his hand briefly magnetizes to his skin.
Cleo laughs too.
You just can't stay away from terrors, can you? At this rate, you're going to start getting offers of marriage from the Gilmuths soon.
Oh, I'm not sure I'm ready to settle down just yet, but that's kind of you to say. You don't exactly seem to be in a hurry to get back to the family. Are you ever gonna go back home? Or are you living on MIDST now, permanently?
I'm living here for now, and I've been loving it. But my family did send a Foldmerciful to come get me. It's a long trip, but it should be getting close by now.
And are you gonna go?
I haven't decided. Some days I feel one way, and some days I feel another way. If you'd asked me a few months ago, I would have said, no way, never, I'm never, ever going back.
Wait, Do you not get along with your family?
Oh, I do. A little too well. But maybe I should go back. The stakes are bigger than just me. There's a whole barony of people whose lives are affected by the decisions my family makes.
And they can't make good decisions without you?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Apparently, there have been a lot of problems since I left.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yes. So keep that in mind when one of my relatives inevitably proposes to you, Mr. Bubbles.
Okay, I will. But, listen, Cleo. One nice guy to another. When you're as friendly and cheerful and generally delightful to be around as you and I are, sometimes people think they can boss you around. And sometimes you might think it's right to let them. But kindness isn't weakness. You're a badass, Cleo. And you're also, like, what, 20 or something? Give yourself some leeway.
How have you been, Dot?
Dr. Rawfield slides into an open chair beside Dot, voice low and discreet.
You look well. Any problems with your, health?
Thank you for asking, Doctor. All of that is much easier for me to manage now. I have had plenty of practice.
It shows. You seem, totally lively, if you catch my drift.
Thank you, yes. I have not forgotten the kindness and support that you gave me in my greatest time of need. I am all right now.
They pat Rawfield's arm softly.
I will be all right. And you are a part of the reason for that.
And then, before Rawfield can muster an appropriate response for this heartfelt sentiment, Dot does her the courtesy of changing the subject entirely.
And how about you? How are the Delta Aid efforts going?
Still deep in the planning phase, but there's been way more support than I ever expected. Turns out there are a lot of ex-company people out there who feel the same way I do, that we're way past due for a modernized Delta outreach program.
Even without the ship?
We didn't need Dark Mica back then, and we don't need it now. Not that we're trying to go back to the old ways, quite the opposite. Trust rescue efforts were primarily motivated by greed. What no one has really tried to do before is simply talk to these people, establish a relationship, find out the best way to help them according to them. So right now, I'm trying to get in contact with any former unlifts who might want to be involved. That's the perspective we need most of all. Unfortunately, unlifts are almost as hard to find as they were in the Delta. Can't blame them, but I've got a few promising leads.
As dinner progresses, people naturally reshuffle the seating arrangement, and it's only a matter of time before Merlin and Felix end up next to each other. Merlin catches a whiff of freshly applied cologne from the timekeeper, a pleasant mix of pepper and cherry wood.
Hey, says Felix.
Hey, says Merlin.
Then, both at the same time,
Sorry,
I could,
no.
after you.
You
after
go ahead. No,
if you're sure.
You go.
I'm sorry that I haven't kept in touch. I meant to call, it's just...
Oh, me too. And it's no problem. I get it. Getting our lives up and running again it's been a lot to juggle. Especially for you, I imagine.
It's been hard in some ways. Surprisingly easy in others. I confess that my book has been demanding most of my attention.
I'm sure it's going to be a hit.
Oh, I hope so. But at the same time, I don't really care. It's something I just needed to write, regardless of the reception. And you? How goes the Time Rebellion?
Psh, rebellion? It's not a rebellion.
Felix scoffs, but he puffs up a little, like a preening bird.
Oh? Then why are they calling you the bad boy of time?
Are they?
Felix struggles valiantly to keep his expression indifferent.
Look, if they want to brand me a rebel for shaking things up a little bit, that's out of my hands. All I'm trying to do is suggest a few upgrades to a science that hasn't been significantly reevaluated in 656 traversals.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Right? I mean, listen, things are changing. It's the age of illumination, baby. The public knows stuff now, you know? Not everything, but enough to rock the buoy. Everyone's got fold in them. The ship is alive. The Un has fold-sucking megafauna in it. The fount is 1,000,000 times bigger than we thought. The end of the cosmos loops back around to the start of the cosmos. More or less.
Yeah, even if certain little details are still classified.
Yeah, for now. That's still plenty to knock the status quo for a loop. So if there was ever going to be a time to give time an overhaul, it's now.
My. So, you're not starting your own rival guild?
No. Is that what people are saying? No. That would be stupid. Last thing we need is competing timekeeping systems. Can you imagine? Anyway, why start my own guild when there's a perfectly good guild already there? Just needs a little revamp.
He smiles menacingly.
Merlin glances at Felix's forearms, at the many watches stacked from wrist to elbow. Their straps are black leather. Some have little spikes on them. I see. Very impressive. Perhaps I will need to start addressing you as your watchfulness someday soon?
No way.
Felix takes a sip of his Vermilion County Unpale Ale.
After all this, I still have my sights set on the last time house. Nothing more, nothing less.
What about that new month? I seem to recall it was once important enough to you to be your dying wish.
The two of them look at each other. Then over at the Bocular Man, who is seated placidly in front of an empty plate on Merlin's other side. The Bocular Man detects them and raises a hand in greeting.
Hello. Felix Hustleworth.
Felix's flippant expression fades into something more vulnerable. Hi, Bocular Man.
He leans back in his chair with a sigh.
I don't know. We'll see. Having my own month doesn't seem like as big of a deal as it used to. A lot has changed.
Yes, a lot has changed. And a lot more will.
Merlin bumps his knee against Felix's.
But that's not always a bad thing. Tell me, Time Rebel, when my book tour is done, do you think you'll have time to come visit me in the highest light?
I could certainly make time.
I'd like that.
Merlin again glances at Felix's arm of watches.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Speaking of time, I was hoping to say a few words.
No way. A few words? You?
Merlin tings his glass. Friends, crew, it is good to see you, all of you. But for those who could not be with us, let us raise a toast.
The assembled quietly raised their glasses.
To Shahnamarian, to Abel, to Ephraim, to Mother Artifice, to the ship, to Merlin.
A quiet, thoughtful toast.
In many ways, the journey we set out on has arrived at its conclusion. We've journeyed beyond our known cosmos, encountered challenges that tested us, and in some cases, fundamentally altered our very selves.
Here, here.
But if our journey has taught me anything, it is that our voyage is ultimately unending. We gather here, having lost incomparable friends, mentors, and collaborators. And we find ourselves wondering, what now? Well, if you'll indulge me a few moments of pontificating, I'd like to share an excerpt from the end of my manuscript, what I am hoping to title Cosmos Unending. Our voyage represented the single greatest cosmological achievement we could hope for. To visit the highest heights, the deepest depths, the beginning and end of the known cosmos. Having now returned from these places, as well as a few more,
He adds, off book.
I can confidently state in no uncertain terms that our learnings have fundamentally altered the texture of reality as we know it. This is, I have learned, wont to happen when exploring the edges of what we think we know. While we have acquired many answers in abundance, we have found many new questions as well. Questions that are sure to empower and excite you, dear reader, to seek new answers yourself. One such mystery that deserves vastly more study is that of the tonality. When first encountering it, we supposed it to be a lure or a sort of siren song that resulted in an encounter with the fold-feeding megafauna of the uppermost unfold. But seeing its utility in the deepest depths of the fold, and its presence and variations throughout the greater cosmos, I find myself wondering if it, too, is simply a basic tenet of reality itself. A voice from 1,000 different sources, emerging as a single song. An ambience to our everyday. The vibration of existence itself, asserting its own persistence. Beautiful and terrifying. Dissonant and harmonic. Mysterious and certain. If wisdom is the art of asking questions, then I invite you to inquire away. Up or down, beginning or end, the cosmos is just as much a part of us as we are of it. And at the end of every journey, we find the beginning of the next.
Merlin gazes around at the crew. The barest glimmer of a tear in the corners of his smiling eyes.
Rawfield catches his gaze, beaming with pride, and gives him a little nod.
Journey's mercies, dear reader.
Kino removes his tortoiseshell glasses to dab his eyes with a napkin.
Exquisite words, Merlin. I will be first in line to buy a copy.
Oh yeah? You'll have to fight me.
After the meal, cabaret staff clear away the table and the chairs, making room for mingling and dancing. And the surviving members of what used to be the crew, of what used to be the ship, dance.
There is a catharsis, a euphoria, a nourishment in music and dance and food and ordinary togetherness that the awe-inspiring extremes of any cosmos cannot ever rival.
Going to the end of reality and back again only makes these things feel better, more precious, more necessary.
Cleo bounces joyfully, like she's at Ebon Reef's hottest club, making her own light show.
Dot looks a bit like a witch casting a spell, ethereal and entranced, their eyes half-lidded in meditative flow state, completely unself-conscious.
Merlin, swaying with unfettered enjoyment, starts laughing in surprise at Felix's unexpectedly aggressive
And precisely on beat,
cybergoth moves.
Hambing flips Zila over his arm like she weighs nothing.
Woo! Whoa! You know why they call me a terrorologist, don't you? 'Cause I know how to terror up the dance floor.
Rawfield stomp claps with dignified focus.
when their favorite song comes on, Everett and Mickey burst into chorus and an entire choreography, which they enthusiastically try to teach the group. Come here, baby.
Swing your partner round and round.
Well-fed and content, Omelette is coiled up around the fire pit like a long yellow beanbag chair with wings, purring thunderously.
The night wears on, the ever-shifting present moment as fragile as a moth's wing and as unmappable as the megacosmos.
After some time, as the dance floor continues to swirl with music and activity, Cleo and Dot drift toward the edge of the rooftop patio, just beyond the warm halo of lantern light. And side by side, they press together, catching their breath.
Dot leans their head into a glowing, freckled shoulder, and Cleo rubs her cheek against soft, dark hair. The breeze feels cool on their sweat-damp skin.
Have you said all your goodbyes?
Yes, but no one knows that is what I was doing. Hopefully, in retrospect, they will all understand.
I'm sure they will. After everything you've done for this crew, they would give you anything in return. A little privacy isn't too much to ask. Everyone knows you don't like being the center of attention.
Whether or not this is actually true anymore is irrelevant. Dot has never had a whole group of people that knows them this well, that cares for them this way. Their memories of their family are distant and fragmented, muddled by creep and time. At the Cenobium, interactions were mysterious and ritualized. The crew of the ship is the first real community they have ever had. And they let themselves feel what that feels like. And it is a good feeling.
Cleo, how are you doing now that the moment approaches?
Cleo sighs and looks out over the nighttime vista.
I probably could feel bad if I really set my mind to it. But if I just let myself feel the way I feel, what I feel is grateful.
She turns to face Dot.
We already had our big, sad goodbye. Every moment since then has been like this miraculous bonus. I'm so lucky to have met you at all. Doubly lucky to have had this time with you after the expedition. I can't seem to feel bad about any of it. I don't think I've ever been so intensely, consciously, continuously grateful for something in my whole life.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I can't help it if I just don't believe this is goodbye forever. I've seen too much and been surprised too many times to ever think that anything is impossible. Anyway, don't forget, you are talking to a human compass.
Dot knows she's joking. Mostly. Probably.
Well, if you ever get that working to the extent that you can locate anything that you wish, you will be quite the formidable Gilmuth.
Cleo smiles coyly.
Even if I never go looking for you, I might need help from a mother someday. What if you're the one who treats me?
Should that scenario ever come to pass, I will treat you as well as I know how.
Better than you already treat me?
Better in some ways, I'm sure. Worse in others. But you will not ever know that it was me.
Psh, of course I will.
How? You won't be able to recognize me, Cleo.
Cleo eyes them up and down. Really, I won't be able to recognize the shortest mother who ever existed.
For Cleo's benefit, Dot allows some heat to come into their cheeks.
Maybe they'll give me some height-enhancing shoes, along with the veil and headdress.
They enjoy the sight of Cleo laughing for a moment. Then,
Cleo, in all seriousness, please don't.
I know. I won't go looking for you. Not on purpose. But you don't have to be looking for something to find it.
You are incredibly right.
Cleo and Dot lapse into easy silence. They have already had this conversation many times over the last several months together. Everything they need to say has already been said, not in one long be-all, end-all speech, but in fragments, in bits and pieces, in the deep of the night, in the middle of the afternoon, over tea, across the pillow, during walks around Stationary Hill, and hikes through the wild landscapes of Vermilion County.
Dot already knows that Cleo will never give up hope. But nor will her happiness depend on anything she's not capable of giving to herself.
And Cleo already knows that Dot is no longer driven toward motherhood by fear and doubt, but drawn toward it by something else, something wondrous, vast, and unnameable.
So right now, right here, they don't overflow with words. This moment, and all their moments together, will always exist, even when now changes into something else, as it always does, as it is already doing. All of it is happening right now, somewhere in the cosmos, behind a door.
Eventually, Cleo says, "What time does your ship leave, anyway?"
Any time.
Cleo turns slowly to face them.
You're not taking a ship, are you?
No, but I am leaving.
It is around this moment that Merlin ambles over, glowing with wine and happiness, looking very wizardly and philosophical with a wisp of alterbud smoke trailing from his pipe. "My friends! In all the wonderful chaos, I realize I have not spoken to you two nearly enough tonight. I don't want to interrupt a private moment, though. May I join you when there's a good time?"
"Oh, get over here, Merlin!" Cleo exclaims.
This is the perfect time, Dot says.
Merlin's presence is actually kind of a relief. Too much longer speaking to each other one-on-one, and this conversation risks straying into dramatic goodbye territory despite Cleo and Dot's best intentions.
Merlin gives them each an affectionate squeeze, then joins them in leaning their elbows on the railing to gaze out over the gentle evening clamor of the city. "It's so good to see you both."
And you, Merlin, you appear to be growing into your identity with grace and wisdom.
"Oh, that means a lot, Dot."
Merlin says modestly. He takes a contemplative puff.
"I have my book to thank, yes. It's been good to get all my thoughts on paper. And I've been taking care of him as best I can, you know."
He looks over at the Bocular Man, now squatting rhythmically on the dance floor.
Hello.
Expanding his libraries for movement, speech, mimetic expression. It helps me, even if it isn't really...
He sighs.
I hope it doesn't come across as tasteless or disrespectful or like I'm making a mockery.
No one thinks that, Cleo says. It's the opposite.
Merlin gives her a grateful, slightly watery smile.
Thank you. I'm doing my best. There are days I still feel I have no right to be here. But most days I'm just so happy that I am. And if I ever want to know what Merlin would have to say about anything...
He taps his scarred temple gently.
All I have to do is listen.
The gentle murmur and bustle of Stationary Hill at night plays out before them. People living their mutable and intricate lives, existing here and now. Like the crew. Like you.
A cluster of friends are laughing as they exit the front door of Saskia's.
Whoa, whose sweet monocycle is this?
Whoa, sweet wheel.
Hey, anyone want a fruit kebab? I'm buying.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Sign me up.
The trio watch. They listen. And after a long moment of simply being, experiencing the here and now without separation, Dot takes a step back.
I'm going to head out now.
Oh, very well. I don't blame you. I'm starting to feel a bit sleepy myself, but I'm just having too much fun to tear myself away. I haven't even investigated Kino's dessert spread yet. Cleo, are you going home too?
Cleo answers him without taking her eyes away from Dot's. No, I think I'll stay for a while longer.
Well then. Good night, Dot. Sleep well.
Good night, Mother.
Dot reaches up to Cleo's glowing, glitter-dusted cheek.
And good night, Cleo.
Cleo's eyes shine directly into Dot's shadowed depths, irises ever so slightly luminescing.
See you later.
Dot raises an eyebrow and lifts the corner of their mouth just barely.
You're impossible.
They kiss each other briefly, with a comfortable familiarity, as though it's not the last time.
Nothing's impossible, Cleo says.
And Dot makes their way to the roof door, in itself not an action that draws any undue attention from the others. After all, the bathrooms are down there.
People have gone up and down all night. It will take the others a while to notice that Dot hasn't come back. And even then, they will assume they've simply gone home to bed. Realization, you might say, will come later.
So it's with no interference that Dot stands at the threshold, though Omelette has roused from his slumber to watch them curiously, unblinkingly.
With their hand on the door, Dot looks back just once at Merlin and Cleo, who both wave, smiling, as Dot raises a hand in farewell.
And then they step through the door.
Into the past. Into a cabaret full of people waiting for a new year to begin. Mourning something that is not really gone.
Through the crowd, Dot passes like a ghost, observing the peculiar mix of emotions and conflicted enthusiasm present in every face, except for the veiled visages of Mother's misapprehension and calamity, who gaze neutrally and mysteriously back at them as they go.
And go we must. Further back, further still. Dot's pink heart glasses shimmer as they turn from the cheery light of the bar and its fold-safe lanterns toward the glossy dark wood and stained glass candlestick of the cabaret's front door. Out we go, stepping deeper still into the past, into yet another momentous fold-dark early morning on the streets of Stationery Hill.
Launch Day.
Down the memory of the hill, past the rising chevron banners, past Patricia's bread and breakfast, past the fractal district, past the street of porcelain.
To a spot just off of the main drag, where several colonnades encircle a lush bioluminescent park. Standing starkly against the fluorescence of a copse of vibrant mushrooms, a cluster of 3 black-cloaked mothers with tall, horned, mantis-like headdresses.
Artifice, calamity, and misapprehension turn slowly to observe the granddaughter's spectral approach, as does the ghostly legion of 100 other mothers standing with them, arrayed throughout the park, a gathering of countless wraith-like onlookers invisible to the launch day pedestrians in the street.
One mother, taller than the others, considers Dot with an unveiled face, a wise, ageless countenance like an ethereal moon, pale and shot through with opalescent scars, eyes black as deepest fold.
Welcome, granddaughter,
says the grandmother.
We have been expecting you.
We have indeed, and I commend you on your excellent timing.
Artifice inclines his hammer-headed horns as Dot arrives to stand before the assembly.
We bid you greetings, granddaughter, and congratulations on your journey. No doubt you have experienced much. I myself, here on launch day, am soon to set forth, and I look forward to voyaging with you and discovering what lies in store.
So you shall, Mother Artifice. It will be a journey unlike any other.
And one which has certainly brought to bear notable questions and answers for you, granddaughter, which we are all gathered here to now resolve.
I understand, and I am ready.
Excellent. Then tell us, is it indeed your desire and intention, after all that you have learned, to become a mother?
Yes, Mother Artifice, it is.
Very well. Thus it is my honor and charge to inquire, granddaughter, have you met your realization?
No, says Dot simply. I have not.
The memoryscape of the city street swirls with foot traffic, unaware of the legion of invisible mothers now watching Dot very, very closely.
You have not met your realization?
No, I have not, Mother Artifice. Because I have realized that there is no such thing.
The numberless mothers exchange quiet glances. The towering grandmother merely watches Dot silently, as does Artifice.
There is no single answer to existence. No all-encompassing revelation that waits to be possessed. Seeking a singular instant of understanding that reveals and illuminates the whole of the unknown is a misconception, I dare say an artifice, that conceals and withholds what we already possess. Realization is not something that can be achieved, because we have never been apart from it. It is everything that we see, and the seeing itself. It is the color and light and cosmos before our eyes in this and every moment. It is the shimmer and flow of thought and feeling, and it is and has always been, here and now, a place of stillness in motion, of surrendered fascination. It is not out there to be acquired, because it is already within. We have, all of us, been looking right at it the whole time. So no, I have not met my realization. I possessed it all along.
There is a long silence in the garden, and then, one by one, the many shrouded mothers kneel, heads bowing, as Artifice and the grandmother look on with an ageless knowing.
Congratulations, Mother.
Artifice looks to a small, caped individual with a suitcase and a very massive hat, approaching slowly, curiously, gliding up the street through the crowd. Then continues.
Your daughtership is complete, and a new path lies now before you. Go forth with my blessings into the company of our order, and let your intuition guide you in your motherly endeavors and the selection of your new name, while I get this show on the road. Excuse me.
He turns to the approaching traveler.
I see you have obtained a giant hat. It gives you a certain distinction.
The former granddaughter arrives unsteadily beside Artifice now. They peer at calamity and misapprehension from under the brim of their humongous headwear as 100 unseen figures,
including one certain very brand new mother,
look on.
The granddaughter here has just arrived from our deep cenobium, and I must take them now to check in at the ship.
He inclines his horned head to the grandmother and his protege-turned-mother.
I may not see either of you before we launch, so I wish to thank you all for your contributions to the expedition.
And before the newly arrived granddaughter can wonder who he's talking to,
Mother Misapprehension, Mother Calamity, I will see you when we return. Please give my best to the grandmother.
The grandmother laughs.
Journey's mercies, Mother Artifice. Thank you, and farewell.
The ranks of incorporeal mothers are parting now toward an archway at the back of the garden.
One by one, the shrouded figures step through a curtain of wisteria and ivies, through a doorway to another time, a future place, beckoning to Dot.
Somewhere beyond the mother's dark ranks, bright and solid in the hazy memoryscape, a large winged cat observes the proceedings.
Dot is not surprised to see him here. Cats come and go as they please, especially this one.
Join us, Mother. Come,
says the grandmother softly, waiting, as Misapprehension raises a salute to Artifice and his quiet little companion. Farewell, Mother Artifice. May you reach your realization with clarity, granddaughter, that we may meet again.
She looks to Dot beside her.
As mothers all.
Yes, well said, Mother Misapprehension.
Artifice booms, proudly regarding the newest mother standing before him in the garden.
Thank you, Mother Artifice.
Dot waves, eyes shining.
Tulu.
And Artifice waves back, one hand raised high, the other on the shoulder of his quiet apprentice, as the journey begins anew.
Toodaloo!
You have reached the final episode of Unend.
Well, almost.
Stay tuned for one last special postlude episode next week to fully conclude the series. This will be followed by an Unend series roundtable in the coming weeks.
But other than that, our explorative tale has reached its final destination.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to explore the highest heights, deepest depths, and the furthest reaches of our cosmos.
Though Season 3 marks the end of Unend, rest assured, this is not the last you'll be hearing from us. The MIDST cosmos is an ever-expanding universe, and we still have more tales to share.
If you're enjoying these stories and want to help our cosmos grow, please recommend, rate, and review the show wherever you're listening.
To stay connected with us during the break, follow or tag us on social media at MIDST Podcast.
And to dive even deeper into the cosmos, become a Beacon member at beacon.tv or join the fold at midst.co. Members of these platforms receive early ad-free access to episodes, bonus goodies, and MIDST Messages, our monthly behind-the-scenes podcast, which will continue throughout the break between Unend and whatever may be coming next.
Farewell for now, and again, thank you very much for listening.